Hi everyone and welcome to the NYGIA Demo Listserv webinar. I'm going to get started shortly, but I think that there may be people who don't have audio, so I've got my colleague Talia here helping us out for any questions that people might have. So I'm going to go through a demo of this listserv, and feel free to chat out questions when you have them, and we'll address any questions towards the end of the demo. You're all on mute right now, just to be safe, but if you do kind of during the Q&A want to just talk out your question, feel free to unmute your video and phones. So in order to get started, I'm very happy to kind of bring us back to the basics of making sure that everyone knows how to log into the Philanthropy New York website. So since most of you had all registered for this webinar through our website, I know that you all have logins. And since you are members of NYGIA, what you will need to do if you've never logged into our website is go down here and go to the Request a Password page. If you have your email on previous NYGIA communications, we have you in our system, and so all you have to do is request a password instead of making a whole new account. So when you are logged in, what you'll find is by going to your My Account page, you will now have access to the New York Grantmakers in the Arts discussion group. So with this listserv, there are really two components. One is an email address that you can send emails to, and it will email out all of the members of the NYGIA community. And the other is an online web component where you can also post an email through our web page and see the roster and edit your email preferences. So I'll first walk us through the website component, so then we can talk about the real simplicity of what the email address will look like. So in order to view this discussion group, this listserv, you'll go to your My Account page, and when you're on there, feel free to also update your profile. So update any interests you might have, your title, address, organizations, if anything looks out of date. But what you'll see is this just My Discussion Groups, and you'll see New York Grantmakers in the Arts. So by selecting that, you'll be brought to the New York Grantmakers in the Arts webpage. So this is where all of the information about your listserv is held. What you can see here is you're able to view the email address, which is nygia@groups.philanthropynewyork.org, and I'll make sure to email out what that email address is since we can't fully see it on this page. It's a little long. You can edit your email frequency, so you can choose if you would like to get emails immediately when folks post in the group, a digest daily when there are posts, or no email at all. No email will still give you access to the posts on the website, but it won't clutter your inbox. You can also see the list of group members by going to the roster. So this will give you an idea of who is receiving all of your emails and who is able to that you're able to connect with one-on-one, and kind of make sure that you know who's part of your community. And if you want to add a picture on your profile, that will show up on the group roster. So there are two ways to email this group. One is by emailing that nygia@groups.philanthropynewyork.org email address, and the next is to create a discussion on this web page. So I'll walk us through and make a first post that will be sent to everybody in the NYGIA listserv. So by hitting Create a Discussion, you'll be asked to create a discussion topic, which is actually just the email subject if you're sending it via email. So I will create the discussion topic, and the title of the subject of the email is Welcome to NYGIA Listserv, and hit Next. Takes a couple seconds when we're doing this on a demo. And so then this is really just the body of the email. So I'm going to provide some information about the listserv that I have handy. There's sometimes some extra spaces when I do this over from Word to the website, but you can really kind of just take a look. You can bold, you can underline, you know, you can have bullets. There's really the same amount of flexibility in this as there is in an email, and you also have the option to upload a file. So the files must be less than 16 megabytes, but realistically that's usually the parameters around sending attachments via email anyway. And so if you have something that's attached that's over 16 megabytes, you should feel free to email me the attachment and we can post it as a resource on our webpage. Then you can just email out the link to the attachment. So when I hit submit, this will now go out to all of the New York Grantmakers in the Arts recipients. And so what you'll see in your inbox is going to be an email that has a prefix and the subject of bracket NYGIA close bracket. So that's how you'll know that this is an email over the listserv. What I've also included in that email is understanding some of the deliverability aspects. So I'll leave this on the screen for now. But really taking these two steps to make sure that you're whitelisting and making a safe sender of the @groups.philanthropynewyork.org domain name, because these may get caught in spam. If you feel like you're not receiving these emails at all, you should either let me know, or you can always log into the web portal here and view all of the posts that have been previously posted. So what you can see here is that this topic has been posted on the website, and it has been hopefully soon to be delivered into your inbox. But you can also search previous discussion topics and comments. So if you have any need to remember what somebody posted a while back ago and you don't want to go through your emails, you can just come to this group page and search for it here. So there are two different ways, you know, when you're receiving these emails in your inbox, you can either reply, which would reply to the original sender, or select reply all, which will nestle a comment and send to the entire group down here. So the reply all feature will track your comment on the website so that it can be searchable in the future. If you have anything that you just want to send to the person individually, you can just hit reply. And you should be able to see that in the reply function on your Outlook or Gmail email. It'll say that you're either responding to the original sender's email address, or that you're responding to a unique identified email that is attached to this comment. So if for any reason you want to start a new discussion, but you're seeing an old email in your inbox, I do encourage you to start a new email in your inbox with the NYGIA @groups.philanthropynewyork.org email address, because that will start a new discussion. It really helps to keep different topics as new discussions rather than just replying to an old email with a totally different question. That way that it's in folks' emails with the correct subject. So even if you are emailing, let's say you find an old email and you just hit reply and you change the subject line, when it reaches everybody else, it will look like it's a response to that original email. So really make sure that you are saving that NYGIA @groups.philanthropynewyork.org email address in your inbox so that you can always email out to the group when you have any questions. The other important thing when you're replying to an email is make sure that you're replying above the line. You'll see a line noting where comments should be, and so the email, you know, if you ever kind of respond in line to folks, that response will be kind of scrubbed, because we really only want to make sure that we're giving people the responses to the emails instead of recycling all of the original content. But it's really quite simple to respond to, and it's really easy to just hit an email and email out to the entire listserv. I think that the items that have been the most useful to email out and I know I've talked to the co-chairs and our wonderful testing group within NYGIA, are really questions that the group can answer or be a resource to themselves. So questions about funding priorities, interactive questions when you're looking for answers of a community of peers. Now, that shouldn't stop you necessarily from emailing out about different events that you're interested in or hosting, RFPs, news articles that you find interesting, but we do have a pretty strict non-solicitation policy for both our listservs and just P&Y programs in general. And so if you have any questions about what you should or shouldn't post, you can always come over here and view the listserv guidelines. And so this is really just guidelines that we have for all of our listservs, and feel free to email me with any questions that you might have about this. So with that quick tutorial, I'm going to see if there are any questions that folks have about using the listserv and the experience overall. But if there are no questions, I'm more than happy to end this webinar a little bit earlier. So we have recorded this webinar, and I will send this webinar out over the listserv and post it as a resource so that anybody who is either on the line now and just wants to revisit key pieces of information or is not able to join us for this webinar or the one that we have in March can always review what we've gone over. So if at any point you've got questions, feel free to email your co-chairs, or you can always email me directly if it's more of a technical question. Okay, so with that, I hope that you enjoy a wonderful Friday morning, and please let me know if you have any questions. This listserv is now live, so feel free to post information and enjoy kind of having an easy way to access all of your colleagues.